Did you know that there's a treatment for chronic insomnia that works better than sleep medications and has no side effects or dependency issues? It's called cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, or CBT-I, and it has a success rate of 70 to 80%. Welcome to Sleep Signals, a podcast from Nightfall Sleep Radio. Today we're talking about how this therapy treats insomnia and whether it's right for you.
That sounds incredible. I feel like insomnia is one of those things people just learn to live with, thinking there's no real solution beyond popping a pill. But CBT-I sounds like it's actually addressing the root of the problem.
Yes, and that's what makes it so different. Most people with insomnia have tried everything: melatonin, meditation apps, lavender baths, even those weighted blankets that are supposed to feel like a hug. But none of those really fix the underlying issue for most people. CBT-I, on the other hand, retrains your brain and body to approach sleep in a steadier way.
So how does it work? I mean, what's the actual process that makes it so effective?
It's a structured program made up of 5 core components, and it's typically delivered over 6 to 8 weekly sessions. Each component targets a different aspect of insomnia, from the behaviors that keep you awake to the thought patterns that make it harder to fall asleep. The first, and probably most counterintuitive component, is sleep restriction therapy.
Wait, sleep restriction? That sounds like the exact opposite of what someone with insomnia would want. How does that help?
It does sound counterintuitive, but here's the logic. Let's say you're spending 8 hours in bed every night, but you're only actually sleeping for 5 of those hours. That means your sleep efficiency is about 62.5%. Sleep restriction therapy has you limit your time in bed to match the amount of time you're actually sleeping, in this case, about 5 hours. The goal is to push up that sleep efficiency percentage.
Okay, I see. It's about quality over quantity. By restricting your time in bed, you're essentially training your body to make the most of the time you have.
Right. And this intentional sleep deprivation builds something called homeostatic sleep pressure. That's basically your brain and body's way of saying, okay, we really need to sleep now. Over time, this pressure helps consolidate your fragmented sleep into higher quality, more continuous rest. As your sleep efficiency improves, ideally to 85% or higher, you can gradually expand your sleep window.
That makes sense, but it also sounds like it would be really tough at first. I mean, intentionally making yourself more sleep deprived? That can't be easy.
It's definitely not easy. The first couple of weeks of therapy can be rough. You might feel more tired and irritable than usual. But that initial discomfort is what sets the stage for long-term improvement. And the good news is sleep restriction therapy is just one piece of the puzzle. Another component is stimulus control, which is all about breaking the negative associations your brain has developed around sleep.
If you've been struggling with insomnia for a long time, your brain might start associating your bed with frustration and wakefulness instead of rest, right? So how does stimulus control change that?
There are a few specific rules. First, you're supposed to use your bed only for sleep and sex. Nothing else. No scrolling on your phone. No binge-watching TV. No eating midnight snacks in bed. Second, if you're lying in bed awake for more than 15 or 20 minutes, you're supposed to get up and do something else until you're genuinely sleepy. And third, you need to maintain a consistent wake-up time every single day, no matter how poorly you slept the night before.
That consistency seems so important. It's like you're retraining your brain to associate your bed with actual sleep, not just lying there awake and feeling frustrated.
Exactly right. When you combine stimulus control with sleep restriction therapy, you're essentially rewiring your brain to approach sleep in a healthier, more functional way. But insomnia isn't just a behavioral issue. It's also a mental one. And that's where cognitive restructuring comes in.
This part seems so interesting to me because I feel like a lot of people with insomnia get stuck in anxiety-driven thought patterns. It's like their brain becomes their own worst enemy when it's time to sleep.
That's exactly right. People with chronic insomnia often fixate on thoughts like, "I'll never sleep again," or "Tomorrow's going to be a disaster because I didn't sleep well." Cognitive restructuring helps you challenge and replace those catastrophic thoughts with more realistic, calming ones.
So instead of thinking, "I won't be able to function tomorrow," you might remind yourself, "I've gotten through tough days before and I can handle this." It's about reducing that performance anxiety around sleep, right?
Yes, that's the rationale behind the therapy. When you're lying in bed thinking, "I have to fall asleep right now," it creates an intense pressure that makes it almost impossible to relax. Cognitive restructuring gives you the tools to take a step back and approach sleep with a calmer mindset.
And that's such a powerful shift. But I'm guessing there's more to CBT-I than just these three components. What else is involved?
Another component is sleep hygiene education. That's all the little things you do before you go to bed, like your nightly bedtime routine. Now, sleep hygiene alone won't fix chronic insomnia, but it's still an important foundation for better sleep. It includes things like limiting caffeine and alcohol before bed, managing light exposure, keeping your bedroom at a comfortable temperature, and creating a calming bedtime routine.
Those are all things we've heard before, but I can see how they'd work when combined with the other components of CBT-I. It's like they set the stage for everything else.
Yes, exactly. And the final component is relaxation techniques, which help you wind down at the end of the day. These can include things like meditation, progressive muscle relaxation, and deep breathing exercises.
What's interesting is that while relaxation techniques are helpful, they're not the main drivers of CBT-I's success. The real heavy lifting is done by sleep restriction and stimulus control, right?
That's right. The relaxation techniques are like the icing on the cake. They help lower cortisol levels and reduce that pre-sleep arousal, which is that nervous or alert feeling you might get when you climb into bed.
So who's a good candidate for CBT-I? Is it something anyone with insomnia can try?
Clinically speaking, CBT-I is recommended for people who've had insomnia for 3 months or longer, who experience it at least 3 nights a week, and who haven't responded to basic interventions like melatonin or simple changes to their sleep schedule. It's also been shown to be effective for people who are tapering off sleep medications or dealing with insomnia, alongside conditions like anxiety, depression, or chronic pain.
But it's not a one-size-fits-all solution, right? If someone has untreated sleep apnea or another medical sleep disorder, they'd need to address that first.
Exactly. Get any medical issues treated first, and then there are a few ways to get started with CBT-I. The most effective option is to work with a certified therapist, either in person or through teletherapy. Treatment usually involves 6 to 8 weekly sessions, and while it can be pricey, around $100 to $200 per session, many insurance plans cover it.
There are also digital CBT-I programs, like the Sleepio and Somrist apps, which are FDA cleared and offer self-paced options, right? Those tend to be more affordable, but are they as effective as working with a therapist?
They can be effective, but success rates are sometimes slightly lower compared to therapist-delivered treatment. And of course, there's the self-directed route, using books or online resources to guide yourself through the process. This can work if you're highly motivated, and we provide some recommendations in the link in the description notes. But keep in mind, without the accountability of a therapist, it might be easy to fall off track.
One thing to keep in mind is the first couple of weeks of CBT-I can be tough. Sleep restriction, in particular, can leave you feeling more sleep-deprived initially. But as they say, it gets worse before it gets better.
That's true. Most people start seeing significant improvements by weeks 4 to 6, with full benefits by weeks 8 to 12. But the best part? Research shows that the effects of CBT-I can last for 1 to 2 years after treatment ends.
That's such a stark contrast to sleep medications, which usually stop working as soon as you stop taking them. CBT-I seems like it's about breaking the patterns that keep you awake and retraining your brain's relationship with sleep.
Exactly right. So if you've been struggling with insomnia and nothing else has worked, CBT-I might be the solution you've been looking for. It's not about coping with insomnia. It's about overcoming it.
That could be such a powerful shift. Sleep is one of the most fundamental aspects of our health and well-being. When you finally get it back, it can change everything.
For more information on sleep therapy and links to research and resources, check out the blog post link in the show description. And from all of us at Nightfall Sleep Radio, sleep well tonight.